computer might die too. All right. So sleep, good sleep, that's a good one. Anything else? Yeah.
What was that website again for the books?
I think it is shopcentralstate.com. If I'm like remembering off of memory. I know sometimes it's hard to remember off of memory.
Good communication with your teachers.
Good communication.
With teachers.
Yeah, that's a good one, because like sometimes that's the hard thing too. You'll have teachers that will be all over the spectrum. Like, I hope this ain't dead. Teachers that want you to do a million things. You'll have teachers that you only have a few things, so you got to do real well on those few things, or else it's easy to fail the class. You have teachers that have discussion boards all the time. You could have some that are like, if you don't show up and sign this book saying that you're here, you're in big trouble. I feel like I always do this in class. Anybody got COVID yet in the dorms? I guess we'll find out because we'll all get it once somebody gets it.
Or that specific.
Right. Yeah, when we went online last year, this is actually what our class kind of looked like. Because everything was electronic, like discussion boards, every class. Now I'm just having you guys do those 5 major assignments. So Tuesday, that first paper is due. That would be this. Well, there's it, the first paper. But here's our self-care from this morning. I actually was going to do it in your class this afternoon, but then you would get bored because you'll see it twice. Anybody else has me twice? So, any other things you guys do? This is to help you brainstorm for self-care.
I'm just telling you, the purpose why do I do this? Like, what's my goal?
Yeah. I want to make sure this doesn't die on us, so. Actually, maybe I'll just close it all. Oh, yeah, and then I have to get y'all to sign in because that's all due tomorrow. Okay. Hopefully that's filming and the computer won't die. Anybody else? What do you do for self-care? Yeah.
This was another question.
Sure.
I'm trying to do the booking on the computer,
Oh, the books, yeah.
but it doesn't seem to say. Yeah.
ShopCentralState.com. And then we're 1102, class number 2.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay. So you gotta get your student ID, I think, next. And then. So, social workers have to do self-care pretty much. You're doing a good job at that there, getting your book. Because like you gotta have all the materials, you gotta have the things. I forgot, it's gonna say everything I say at the bottom here, but I don't know why, and I don't know how to change it. But it's funny. This is a quick little quote though about in social work, we work with others and how important that is. It's even more important to take care of you, because I always say this, like you can't take care of others until you've taken care of yourself. Like if I'm sick, if I'm stressed, if I'm burnt out, I can't help anybody else. And I always say this too, nowadays you guys have so many more distractions that are like electronic and text messaging and instant messaging. This might sound funny, but my first assignment in college was I had to send the professor an email And I was like, what is this email crap? Like, why do we even have to do it? Like, this is dumb. So I did it. That was in 1996. And I never used email until 1999 when I lived in Nicaragua because I had to write home. But we had to pass notes. We couldn't. Now you can text. You guys got text messages. Did you guys ever have to pass notes? Was that like before phones or class or school? How do you like? Like, was it in? What year were you guys born in? You got to remind me.
Oh,
So Wi-Fi wasn't around until 2004. There was no wireless. Like, I remember sitting in graduate school with my laptop and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have internet on a computer that's unplugged. Like, and then text messaging didn't come around until either 03 or 04. Like, you could call somebody. I had a beeper in 1997. I lost it, but we didn't have cell phones. Somebody would page you and beep you, and then you go to like the quarter pay phone and call them back. So you guys have a lot more distractions. I'm impressed that you, with the amount of distractions you guys have, it can make it hard. So you got to do self-care. You don't have to respond to every single text message right away. Sometimes that's what I say. So here I want to go over secondary traumatic stress, compassion fatigue. Social workers get this a lot. Burnout, stressors that cause the burnout, and then the self-care that will prevent the burnout. So all of these are fine, and if you do this, you're okay. If you do the self-care, you won't burn out. If you don't, it's easy to burn out. So 2 ways to do it: emptying your cup, which I'll get into, and then nurturing yourself. So one of the things when you work with others is called secondary traumatic stress or compassion fatigue. You could have symptoms like when you guys, how many of you are social work majors again? I should ask that. So most of you, and then how many are psychology majors, which you're still working with people, so the same, and then how many are other that I didn't, what were you guys? Biology, okay. Finance, but you'll work with other people too. Whether you want to or not, you gotta help them with their like mismanaged finances, which could be stressful. Like, dude, why are you buying that crap still? You gotta save your money. So, and you work with social workers, but burnout at any job is normal, so it doesn't just have to be social work. Here's some of the symptoms if you do get it, and this could be in school, because you guys run into a lot of people in the dorms. You might experience avoidance, numbing of reminders of the traumatic event, persistent arousal, intrusive thoughts or images of your client's own traumatic experiences, difficulty separating work from your personal life. And that's a big one at any job, is you're getting text messages all day long. You don't. Do any of your all's work have text message policies? Or phone policies? Do they have phone policies? Like, do they get mad if you're ever on your phone? How do they even like articulate that to you guys or enforce it or whatever?
Like if we know it's about to be a busy day, they just say like, don't be on your phone. Like without.
Oh, like a busy day.
Yeah, mostly that.
Where did you work at?
At this restaurant in downtown Chicago.
They're like, pay attention to the customers.
Yeah.
Okay. So at any job, that's a deal. Obviously, you're allowed to communicate with your people. You don't want it to where it's burning you out and wearing on you so much. Nowadays, you can be in communication with your boyfriend or girlfriend all freaking day. Like in the old days, like you look forward to 5 o'clock, you would get off work and go see them, maybe a phone call in the middle. Now it's like all day long. That's where I'm saying like, it's okay to let them know you're working for a little bit or hang out in class or whatever, because that can wear on you. So that's the third one, or fourth one, difficulty separating work from your personal life. And sometimes if there is a lot personal going on, I remember a professor even once saying like, you sure you want to take that many classes this semester? You seem to have a lot going on, like breaking up with your girlfriend or whatever. And I was like, actually, yeah, I'm good. I'm not going to be distracted by it. You may have lowered frustration tolerance, increased countertransference. I know this is a big word. And I had to look it up even in graduate school. Anybody know what countertransference is? I had no idea. I had to Google it. So basically, it's when you work with people that are going through a stressful event, even if it is a hurricane, a tornado, or a disaster area, or the stress of them talking about breaking up with their significant other in the dorms, you get stressed out. Like you absorb all the stress that they're bringing to you. Like maybe they're in a domestic violent relationship and you're like talking them out of it, and you're getting stressed out as they are. So you absorb that same stress. And counseling, social work and counseling calls it countertransference. You may experience depression. You may experience assumptive world disturbances, like the war in Afghanistan right now. And I guess getting people out by August 31st is now the deadline. Ineffective or self-destructive, self-soothing behaviors. So one thing you won't see on the list, you'll see this list in the next few slides. And in college, people can drink and smoke, I guess at 21. Do they card you for cigarettes now at the age of 21, for real? Is it 21?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I always thought it was 18 when we were kids. They just didn't care, but.
Yeah, they just changed it like last year.
Okay. So the reason those aren't on here for self-care, because drinking can be okay, normal, and it may help you forget for the night or the time being, but sometimes in the morning it's even worse with like a hangover, or you get in trouble for being underage. So it's adding more stress in. That's why the drinking isn't on the list. And that's the self-soothing behaviors. Also, there would be probably, I think even nowadays, video game addictions, food, sex, gambling, drinking and smoking. So those would be more of the self-destructive, self-soothing behaviors. In moderation, they're fine, and whatever is legal, but if they do become a problem, or like once you start, or if you have alcoholism that runs in the family, or addiction that runs in the family, definitely something to watch out for. You may experience hypervigilance, decreased feelings of work competence, diminished sense of purpose, loss of hope, and confusion and hopelessness. So here's what burnout is. Anybody ever heard of burnout before? Like you're burnt out? What like area did you hear about it in?
Work.
Which type of work?
Before I came here, I was working at a nursing home,
Oh yeah.
and like I used to always get doubles because people are always constant calling off.
Yep.
My manager told me I have to actually take a day off before I come.
That's a big one, and that is why they give you vacation days. So like a good full-time job will give you paid time off to go do the self-care. Because if you don't do it, burnout is inevitable. So it says compassion fatigue occurs when people living with others experience trauma. Burnout refers to exhaustion from emotionally demanding work. People who are burned out will experience depleted energy, so you might be tired all the time, you need that day off, and decreased effectiveness. You also have less immunity, so here's some of the symptoms. It could be boredom, so negative self-concept and attitudes towards work, school, etc. So those are some of the things. Like you could be burnt out with school already, it's a week and a half, so it's like rethink your major, rethink your classes, something of that nature, because that could be a sign. Boredom, errors or accidents, impatience, irritability, physical depletion like tiredness, headaches, illness. That's where your immune system gets worse. If you're stressed, your body isn't as good at fighting off those natural diseases. Coronavirus, for example. Feelings of helplessness or hopelessness, and then withdrawing from relationships, isolation. This is another big word I'd have to look up. Anybody know what grandiosity is? So if you're grandiose, you think you're like the bomb, you're the best at something, like nobody can tell you what to do, you're the shit, like you got it all going on. But it's grandiosity. It's okay to have high self-esteem and feel good about what you do, but grandiose is almost like narcissist diagnosis, which is also in the DSM-5. So you think you're so good, you don't have to report to your supervisor. And in social work, you always will have a supervisor, like no matter what. I am a supervisor, but I still have to like answer to somebody. So we have a licensing board in the state of Ohio. I know some of you all from other states. Each state has their own different licensing board. Probably even in finance and accounting, I'd imagine they have a licensing board for finance, a licensing board for psychology if you go to get your doctorate. Here's some of the daily self-care dozen. If you have toxic friends or colleague support, anybody ever had a toxic friend? Too much, you gotta let them go heal and take care of their life, and you take care of your life. That's important so you don't burn out. Also, if you don't have enough fun at work, like playfulness, humor, laughing, life, or if you have a fuzzy, inarticulated understanding of your needs, like today, you gotta remember to drink enough water, or like eat enough vegetables. I always say adding in the vegetables. Or if you don't have training at your work, and that's number 4. So the professional development or process that turns experience into more competence. I know energy giving personal life. So like if you're all giving to the friendships, but it's not a reciprocal friendship where you like give and take, you can burn out. At work, the same thing happens. Inability to say no to unreasonable requests. Anybody have a hard time saying no? So that's another thing. We all need to work, as social workers, always need to work on that. But like letting it be known, they'll always want to give you another client at work or have something else to do. And it's like, I have 40 hours in the week. I need to make sure to take care of me. I'll get done what you've given me. I don't think I can add anything else. Like being able to articulate that and say no. Vicarious traumatization that takes an accumulated toll. Personal relationships that are predominantly one-way pairing relationships with self as giver. So again, in relationships, you want to have that reciprocity. Like you'll give, they'll give back. You'll give, they'll give back. And it's not always perfect. Maybe it's like 1 month you're helping a friend out, and the next month they're helping you out. But there's that cycle of give and take, not like somebody who's like draining your blood all day long. Constant perfectionism. So like, were you guys able to figure it out?
Yeah.
Okay. Was it click at the end, have them pay for it?
No, she was just asking like, where would she access the book?
Yeah, where do you access the book?
They're gonna send you an email to access the book.
Is it a website somewhere? Like,
Yeah. I think it start with a Y.
and that's because they can delete your access to it at any time, or you can't save a file and sell it on eBay. Okay, right. Which, yeah, definitely have that for your Paper Tuesday. I'm still keeping mine as simple as I can, that you guys all got the syllabus, assignments. I really only use that, assignments, discussions, and then announcements. And I usually just announce where I film the class for if you get COVID or have to do electronic stuff. Continual unresolved ambiguous professional losses, even if you have personal losses, if you have even just losing friends, and it doesn't have to be always to, just maybe they went to another school, maybe they went to another place. And professional losses, that's like changing supervisors. That's stressful because they all have different expectations of you. So that can cause burnout, or why they call it the poor self-care deadly does. You want to make sure to do extra self-care if any of this stuff comes up. A strong need to be needed, or if your professional success is only defined by client, students, or patient positive change or appreciation. Like if you always need to have people giving you praise. Again, it's important to get praise, but if your life depends on that praise from somebody, it's just something to work on. Let it be known that you are worthy and you're good enough. Here's where the finance comes in. So a right finance is the key to wellness. And this is, as students, I don't know if you guys get a lot of student loans yet. I know freshman year you get like 5,000 or 7,000, sophomore year you get like 8,000, junior year you get like 9,000, and then senior year maybe 10,000 a year to pay for college. In grad school you get 21,000. I took out 250 total, but I did 8 years for my doctorate and 3 years for my master's, and they give you 21 a year for graduate school. So it's important to keep track of all expenses and financial obligations. Mismanagement of finance can quickly lead to unnecessary stress. There are many sources of information online and just different hacks, I guess they would call them, things that you guys can do to pay for stuff and get your things you need over here, hopefully. Lots of scholarships online, I guess, so like keep a lookout. Last year, Central gave a lot of students a little bit of money just because I think they got COVID monies. So they just they did a money gun,
Yeah, it was like the, what was it called, like the stimulus, they gave us like
right,
2 times.
yes. It was a money gun in the middle of campus, I think you had to sign up for it though, right?
Yeah, you had just, the first one they just gave it to you randomly when we had left, like when they first first spiked up and we was out on campus.
Mm-hmm.
They sent it out like a week after we left, and then the last year they gave it to us like in the spring.
So keep an eye out for that and scholarships, just because different things comes up all the time, for money, especially in grad school. A lot of people say you should not pay for graduate school. I guess I just wasn't that smart. I always took out loans in graduate school. I would get scholarships, but I never had it all paid for. I guess you had to have 4.0s and other stuff. So this is like a thought process here. It's called emptying the cup. So think out loud. You guys imagine yourself as a cup. You spend your day hearing stories of others, being with them and their pain and joy. You also have your own pain and your own joy, your own stuff going on. You know what I mean? You got like the text from last night from the significant other or family, like stuff going on at home. So your mind can be in many places. We got to focus it to get you through these 16 hours this semester. Eventually your cup becomes full. Some days it's overflowing. You feel you can't hear one more story of pain. You might snap at a loved one. Mom and dad usually get that brunt of that. You might feel like sleeping all day as you're just tired and burnt out. Self-care is what you do to empty that cup. So it's critical that you empty your cup every day so you can re-engage in your life and your work in an effective and healthy way. So here's a list. I'm sure you guys can add to this. These are things you can do for self-care. It says you'll find your own ways of emptying your cup. Here are some of the ways others engage, like take a long walk. I'd say at least hour a day, half an hour a day. Get your 8,000 to 10,000 steps. And I don't know if you guys still have step trackers on your phones. Meditate, pray, talk with a friend, listen to music. That's good self-care. Take a bath, play with animals, ride a bike, sit in the sun, eat lunch outside. That's where you get your vitamin D, sitting in the sunshine. And to prevent COVID, remember your 3 vitamins are B, C, and D, and your 3 supplements are elderberry, colloidal silver, and then chaga, the mushrooms, chaga mushrooms. Hey, it said it right, it didn't say chocolate. Also says paint. At night you can look at the stars. Garden, which we do have stuff on campus, and in the winter we have a greenhouse. Drink tea, not the other stuff. Dance, draw, and again, I know that drinking can be self-care, but when done to excess, to where you forget and miss stuff and all that, that's where it becomes diagnosable in the DSM-5 that we have. Draw, journal, cook, read, smell flowers, jog. That was a big one too. I quit 10 years. I ran cross country, and during graduate school for 10 years, I quit running altogether. But when I was writing our dissertation, which is our big final paper, it's 155 pages of writing a big final paper, I started running again because it was so stressful. And I ran every day and got to where I ran a whole marathon in Cincinnati, the Flying Pig Marathon. So just different exercise. I got knee surgery this year though from a car accident, so I'm not running. I have to do yoga. I've not gotten a pedicure. I've taken my wife to get one. Or a man. What's better, a pedicure or a manicure? Pedicure? Why is that?
Well, first normally there's a nice chair, you get vibration and stuff, and then
warm water, so it's like a little
So like massage, like,
a massage chair, that's.
I guess you can see it too, right? I would think feet, you can only see it if you wear sandals,
Yeah,
right? That's why pedicure is better, is you can actually see the nails too. I know eventually I'll probably need one on my feet, but right now I'm good.
pedicure is,
Pedicure?
is feet.
Oh, pedicure's feet. I know, that's why I wonder why they didn't say manicure. I didn't write it all up, but I made this with somebody in graduate school. Do yoga, play soccer, lay in the grass, stretch, and that's a big one. Go to a community and temple. Since I have knee surgery, I have to stretch a lot, so maybe I'll stretch. Play a game, laugh, and swim. I think we have a pool here. I don't know if you guys can access it.
Probably not right now because it's COVID, but yeah, it's amazing.
They say they're looking for lifeguards.
Oh, are they really? So you could get paid to go just like sit there and nobody
You gotta have
comes?
your lifeguard certification.
Okay, will they give it to you here?
You gotta go to the YMCA.
And that's in Xenia, right?
Yeah,
Okay. I didn't know. How much do they pay?
$12.50.
Is that like one of the best paying jobs on campus? It sounds like it.
Because the rest of them are 80.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Even in grad school, they gave me $7.50 an hour to sit in the library. So we are more than halfway through, and I promise, because it's hot today, we're done at the end of this. Is this? Yeah, it is still filming because it's green. So, ways to nurture yourself. And these are things, again, with the self-care. So, I know this research is 20 years old, but a lot of it is still the same. Emotionally, you want to take care of your emotional self. So, processing emotions and seeking therapy when necessary. Does everybody know that you have access to free counseling on this campus? Totally free. So across the street, I've never seen the college shop open. That used to be like a snack shop. But right there, you see it says the Community Health Center. You walk in there, that's where the counselor, social worker is. And you can go see, especially stressed out from school. And it's okay. Like, it's good to have somebody to talk to. Does the advisor send you guys one?
No, they talk to you. Ain't none of them over there.
Oh, they didn't tell you about that? They said it's free counseling for every student. I mean, I imagine if every single person went out.
They got massage training too.
Is it what?
Massage training.
Do they really? No. Over there?
Yeah, I used to check.
Okay. So it's more self-care stuff. Notice financial self is at the top of the list again too, though. So like learning good financial management skills, especially in a field if the pay is low, like psychology or social work or others. Just managing your money, you know what I mean? You don't have to make a lot of money if you don't spend a lot of money, but just learning how to manage it. Humorousness. So learning to use humor appropriately in the workplace where serious and often painful issues are being dealt with is critical. Humor has been linked to resilience and coping with trauma. And you'll see that book. Viktor Frankl is a survivor of the Holocaust who wrote a psychology book called Man's Search for Meaning. He's like a famous psychologist. Brought up the humanist perspective. The loving self, so develop and attending to genuine loving relationships that provide support. Empathetic people often have a tendency to give love. Like you'll take care of others, but you don't take care of yourself. And that's hello. Hello. How are you? We're just going over ideas for self-care. And I think the sign-in sheet somewhere. There it is. Perfect. So anybody do any of those things for self-care that were listed on here at this point yet? Yeah. Drink tea? I like that one. Yeah.
I work on the coach.
Which one did you say?
I like green tea.
Green tea is good. It's supposed to be better for you than black tea
Yes.
because of the way they ferment. Like I think that it's kind of like heavily roasted coffee or light roasted coffee. And then bubble tea, You guys ever had bubble tea?
Bubba?
It's like tapioca, pretty much. It tastes like, it has a big straw like that, so you can suck the bubbles through. It's tapioca. But yeah, just different things. Again, when it's 90 degrees outside, drink enough water, eat enough vegetables. Can you guys get delivery here of fresh fruits or vegetables?
It'll go
Yeah.
to the mailroom unspoiled.
Nuh-uh. What? What if you did like, somebody said DoorDash
Yeah,
from
you
Myers?
can.
Yeah, you can do that.
Can you? And they'll actually find you, or they'll
Yeah.
like?
Yeah.
Because they'll call if they're lost. Okay. I also heard, well, like Walmart has delivery, and that's through DoorDash.
No, Walmart isn't on DoorDash.
But I think you have to order on Walmart.com.
I think,
Yeah,
I know.
And then send it to the mailroom.
Do they?
Yes.
You can do DoorDash on
Okay.
not DoorDash, but Walmart.
Okay. So one thing to keep in mind, the first Tuesday of every month, they do a fruit and vegetable distribution in the main parking lot. It's free to all students and free to all faculty too. So Tuesday.
Tuesday coming up.
It will be the first Tuesday of the month. So I think this Tuesday is August 31st.
Yeah, it'll be next Tuesday.
So it'll probably be September 6th or 7th. So free fruits, vegetables, they even have sometimes eggs, milk, breads. And it's open to everybody, as I've handed out with them before. They've given me a bunch of crap at the end. I've had a bunch of cheese left over, a bunch of milk. And I would often get it down to either St. Leo's Fruit Pantry, and they'd say just use what you can, because they come from Dayton with a lot of stuff. Did I skip? Yeah, the nutritious self, listening to your body, developing good nutritional habits. Again, drink enough water, eat enough vegetables, and sleeping enough. Physical self, developing a routine for physical activity. So vigorous exercise. Anybody here do sports or on the sports team here? Like football, track, or baseball, or what are the other ones we have? Volleyball. When does that start? I don't know either. And fine if you're not, I never was in college, but that's when I had to develop like the hour a day where I would go get my 10,000 steps or run or walk. And then playful self, having free time to enjoy life and engage in playful activities. Priority setting self, managing your time. Setting boundaries, work, play. Again, coming up where like, nowadays we can get blowed up all day, and they say the text message is like a tap on your shoulder. Every time you get text, you're like trying to pay attention to questions. They're tapping on your shoulder. Like, what's up, dude? Where you at? What's up? And I would fail so fast in school nowadays. I'm glad I went to school 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I started college 25 years ago. I guess I'm old. 43. So just making sure, like, again, every professor is different. Some might blow you up all week long. I'm trying to keep it where, like, you just have an assignment every 7 to 10 days, have a discussion every 7 to 10 days, and I'll send the announcement of I'll film on YouTube the class, so if you need to review something. So I try to keep it simple, but some professors will give you 10 things a week, for real. And quizzes, I can give you guys quizzes if you like them. I'd rather just give those to our social workers that are taking the licensure exam, their junior or senior year. I'll just like practice the test with them. Nurturing self, making sure to do self-time, which is probably hard, as I'm sure you guys all have a roommate. Do you guys get solo dorms here? I don't think there's.
Yeah.
So really? Is that just because they don't have enough house, or they have too much housing?
No, certain rooms don't have roommates.
You just have to pay more for it, I guess?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So getting that alone time, and if you don't get it in the dorm, there is a little gravel path to the woods, and like Wilberforce across the street has more open space than we have. And then your spiritual religious self, attending to personal beliefs that assist with and making meaning of the world, and often serves as a grounding force. And especially nowadays, because they're saying, you guys have probably seen this, that more students are burning out than ever before. like more depression, more anxiety, because we're all online with COVID. We have to wear, like protective gear and like avoid COVID and all that. Anybody do meditation, like a meditation app? Yeah. I just downloaded one this morning. I was gonna try to find it to you. So the one I downloaded was called Insight Timer. So this one gives you just like guided meditations of people that are doing it that can kind of help defrag your mind. Or this dude looks like he lives in Yellow Springs with the dreadlocks. Any of you been to Yellow Springs? It's only like 4 miles that way, I think, like down this road. And a lot of hippie restaurants, tons of hippies there, and it's like it smells like patchouli, which smells kind of good. So here's a good meditation people repeat like a mantra. This one is, Lord, make me a channel of thy peace. Where there is hatred, I may bring love. Where there is wrong, I may bring the spirit of forgiveness. Where there is discord, I may bring harmony. Where there is error, I may bring truth. Where there is doubt, I may bring faith. And where there is despair, I may bring hope. That where there are shadows, I might bring light. And where there is sadness, I'll bring joy. Lord, grant that I may seek to comfort rather than be comforted, to understand, be understood, and love rather than be loved. It is in self-forgiving that one finds, and forgiving that one is forgiven, and dying that one awakens to eternal life. So some people will say a mantra there. Some people use meditation books. Nowadays, they're all on apps, which is, they'll give you the little gong. But yeah, it has the noises. That one's dumb. You ever hear the bell, which is supposed to be like a mindfulness thing that like centers your attention, and then you focus on breathing, which can really help lower your blood pressure and help with stress. Even just 5 minutes a day in the morning. And just a break from electronics, like a break from our phone. I know this is on your phone, but it's something to think of, because we get text messages all day long and we're distracted. It's hard to finish anything nowadays, and that's what college requires, is 121 hours of your time over 3 years and 8 months until you graduate. If you did 16 hours every semester, you'll finish on time, but it takes that focus that's like hard to do. So meditation helps. These 4, I always say, is like a stool that you would want to sit on. So it helps most if you have all 4 of these to balance out: physical, intellectual, spiritual, and emotional. Sometimes you get busy and can only do 3, and the stool will still kind of hold itself up. But if you only do 2 of these, the stool will fall over. Like it just falls over. You need to get 3 legs or 4 legs, and ideally you want 4 legs all semester long. So like emotional, social health, spiritual health, intellectual health, and physical health. And like with a balance of all those, you'll complete and you'll get far. It's hard to finish college. You guys know how many people have a finished college degree in the United States? I was surprised I finished when I heard this. Do you know how many have a finished college degree in the world? If you were to take a guess, what do you think?
20%.
Percentage-wise, but you were saying a million?
25%.
Globally, I think it is that. They say it's like 1 or 2% worldwide. So 1 out of 100 people have a college degree. It's bigger in America. So like, what do you think the percentage in America would be? I think in America it might be 25%, but like 1 out of 4 have a finished college degree. So it's, it's still hard. 5% sounds about right. I would have thought that, and I was surprised, I finished when I did, but like it takes that 121 hours of dedicated time. And I dropped out a few times and finally finished. I struggled. I got low grades. I got put on probation, and it's a struggle, but I finished, like staying focused and doing that self-care all the way through, because it's easy to skip class, not do anything. But I realized when I did drop out working that many hours a week to pay for whatever. There's a lot more hours a week than what I probably have to work now. So I'm gonna try to get this for our second discussion, but this is the last few slides. Basically, you come up with like your own self-care plan. What do you do for self-care? How do you take care of yourself? And use the information reading to write up your own plan. Like, the plan is helpful as it prevents you from burning out or having compassion fatigue. It can also increase your ability to identify your stress, like you notice when you're stressed out. Because at the beginning of the semester, it seems easy. You're like, oh, stuff ain't due for like 2 weeks. And I'm like, I can do it mañana. Whenever I lived in Nicaragua, I'd say mañana. But I would wait those 2 weeks and I had all 5 classes due tomorrow. And it's like, I can't do all that, like I held it all off. And if I had set a plan up to do like this assignment that week, this assignment that day, and it's a lot easier. I'm not pulling all-nighters like I used to, which can be bad on your stress. Awareness of your own stress level is a critical component of effective clinical practice or any job, really. So anything that you do. We had a few references on this and even some financial readings like the 9 Steps to Financial Freedom, The Laws of Money and Lessons of Life, Money Book for Young, Fabulous, and Broke, and then Women in Money, Owning the Power to Control Your Destiny. So that's pretty much, I just wanted to really have a focus on self-care today, as I want you guys to crush on your paper this weekend. That's the first major assignment due Tuesday with the discussion board. So we've had nothing but show up to class and sign in wherever the sign-in sheet is, and that's all you have. Anybody else need the sign-in sheet? But everything's in D2L and you turn it in on D2L. So any questions about D2L or self-care or any of that? That's all I have for now. Here's your class if it all went online. Go do that during class. What's that? That's okay. No, because it's a PDF. Can you copy it to Word? It doesn't have the grid. Have you tried? Yeah, thank you guys. You know how to make one of those, you would just type in a table, see where that is. You have words in it. So you go, there's tables. So, then, draw a table. Draw a table. Sometimes, right. Anybody else know how to draw a table in Word? I feel like it is. It's something like this, and then you split cells and split tables. Oh yeah, number, you could do like 5 by 5. And type in your stuff, that's kind of like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm trying to down.
Right, I know. Is that math or something or
No,
logic?
it's chemical.
See, that might be above my pay grades. I'm just a social worker. What if you Google it though? Can't you?
I'm gonna try. I'm trying to figure it out.
Right, I mean, that's probably why I'm a social worker.
But
We don't have much math. Yeah. Right, yes. The first assignment will be due under assignments, but you can't get it on the app, on the phone. You have to get it into the computer. Okay. Right, there's the first paper due Tuesday and the first discussion due on Tuesday.
So you got your class on the phone?
Yep.
So you got your class?
Oh, yeah, you can send that to me. Yeah, you can email. I like that. Is that the correct? Our Lady of Guadalupe. Looks like the miraculous medal.
Oh, no, it's not.
No? Is that Merida?
Yeah.
It is, I can tell, yeah, it looks like Our Lady of Guadalupe from the, anyway. Cool, yeah, just email me, I'll go over any papers you guys want me to like, look at before you turn in.
All right, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
I just had a quick question.
Yeah.
So the paper that's upcoming, are we explaining what social work is, or are we explaining what type of social work we want to do?
Kind of both.
But, okay. All right, I just
That
wanted to make
way-
sure.
Right, because that's the idea behind, so you know what social work is, and then you also know what you want to do in life. It's just like kind of like